Do you know a woman named Sylvia Oliver?
I do not.
I didn't think so. She is from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. She is the sister of the immediate past Speaker of the New Jersey General Assembly. She received a loan from IndyMac in 2008, and after her employer cut her hours, she ran into difficulty paying for her mortgage. She wanted to be a good borrower. She tried 8 times for loan modifications, which I believe she would have qualified. Every time your bank denied each and every one. She's been fighting to save her home for 7 years. She nearly lost her home yesterday. Thanks to her tenacity, she has a 30-day reprieve, but that's no guarantee she won't lose her home next week. So I look at her, and Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have the testimony of several individuals who face these realities be included in the record at this time.
Well, without objection, if they pertain to the record.
They certainly pertain to the record. They pertain to having been foreclosed on and ultimately having tried to seek loan modifications unsuccessfully, even though they should have qualified for them. I think they're more than eligible for the record. So let me just say, in closing, I see this as an example of privatizing profits but socializing losses. In the darkest days of the financial crisis, it seems to me that you and your friends were looking for stores to raid, and you found a gem in IndyMac. And with the government subsidizing the risk, you engineered a highly lucrative equation that made billions off the backs of homeowners, seniors, minorities, military men, and women. And so I have a problem understanding how does that create confidence in the Secretary of the Treasury nominee when you have to be looking out for every American. And it didn't seem that when you had the chance to do that, and even the incentive, I would argue, by the backstop that the FDIC gave you, and over $400 million that your company took from HAMP, which I know you were disparaging before, that was your drive. So I need to be convinced that's going to be your drive now that you're the nominee for the Treasury Secretary that's supposed to represent all Americans.
Well, Senator, I hope I have the opportunity to convince you going forward. And I apologize because I didn't recognize the name. But now that you've mentioned to me it's been postponed, and I don't know any of the specifics, but as a courtesy, CIT did inform me that your office had requested an extension, and they did honor that and give an extension to revisit that. And I am not involved in CIT anymore, but I would encourage you to make sure that you have again, if there's complaints, there's a department within the bank that responds to this. As I said earlier, any complaints that came through any government or regulatory agencies were responded to very carefully and reviewed by the OCC. And again, I would just apologize to the extent there were any errors whatsoever. That is something that I'm very sorry for. But having said that, we took over a mortgage servicing business that was not part of what we were trying to build. It was a mess when we got there. We fixed it, we cleaned it up, and to the extent that we made errors or issues, we compensated people for that as part of the agreement that we entered into the regulators, which we think is the right thing to do.